Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. So, do we have any points for discussion?
So it is said that Kaliya has taken shelter of Yamuna ji.
Kaliya took shelter of Yamuna.
Ji, in Vrindavan.
Yes.
So Yamuna is a pure devotee of Krishna.
Yamuna ji is a pure devotee of Krishna. Yes.
So,
yes.
So we know that anyone who comes in contact with pure devotee, they get purified.
Yeah.
So how do we understand this Kaliya had still that he was he was giving trouble to Brajvasis and all.
Yeah. So it is said that Punantyapo, what is that verse? What is that? Anusevaya. If when the waters of the Ganges, for the waters of the Ganges to purify, it requires constant touch of the Ganges water for a prolonged period. Whereas when we come in touch with pure devotee, even by just his darshan, just by seeing him, all our sinful reactions, they fly away, they are destroyed. And just once receiving the mercy of the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, one develops attraction for the pastimes, for the lotus feet of Krishna, and one becomes eligible to receive Krishna Prema. So that being the case, how did Kaliya, even though he came in touch with Yamunaji, and Yamunaji we all know is a pure devotee of Krishna, and how did he continue his sinful activities? Isn't it? So there are a couple of things to be considered here. When it is said that by coming in touch with a pure devotee one becomes purified, it also we also have to take into consideration the mood of the person coming in touch with the devotee. Just like Kamsa was also in touch with so many pure devotees. Akrura, Ugrasena, they were all pure devotees. But did his mentality change? No. He was inimical towards Krishna, he was inimical towards the devotees of Krishna also. So naturally their mercy could not touch him. See, it is not that there is something lacking in the pure devotee. The lacking is on the side of Kamsa because he is not ready to receive. Just like it is said that the moon does not discriminate where to spread its moon rays. The moon equally spreads its rays on the house of a very honest man as well as the house of a cheater. He may be a criminal. Even on his house the moonshine is distributed without any discrimination. Now, if the person who is of good character, he may open his doors, windows and invite the moonshine to come into his house. Now if the criminal closes all the doors and windows of his house and says, see, moon is discriminating, no moon rays are coming into my house, The moon is ready to distribute your rays. You open the doors and windows, no? Similarly, sinful people, especially offenders, at the lotus feet of Krishna and his devotees, even though they may come in touch with the pure devotees, or they may even come in touch with Krishna directly, still they may not give up their sinful propensities and their inimical thinking. So, that way if you see, Kaliya, although he came and took shelter of Yamunaji, we have to look at the purpose for which he came and took shelter of Yamunaji. Did he come thinking, oh, Yamuna is a great devotee of Krishna, let me go and take shelter of her and be purified of all my sinful reactions? Was that his thinking? No, that was not his thinking. He came there because he wanted to escape from Garuda. Every day, what used to happen, where Kaliya used to be the king of the serpents, Garuda would every day come and attack and take away a few serpents. That was creating disturbance amongst the snake community. They all got together and they had a meeting with, compromise meeting with Garuda Dev. That every day if you come and simply attack like this, we are also fearful, and unnecessarily you want one snake, you will kill 10 snakes and go. Why all this has to happen? Every day we ourselves will come and keep some offering for you. You take that and be satisfied. Garuda said, I am okay if you are going to do that. So every day all the snake community, they would gather some fruits and vegetables, whatever they could, and they would keep it as an offering for Garuda Dev. He would come, take it and go. Now this Kaliya became very puffed up, thinking, what is Garuda in front of me? I have so many hoods, and I have 1,000 hoods, and I have so much virulent poison in my fangs. What can Garuda do? I'll bite him and finish him off. So what the serpents every day were keeping as offering for Garuda, this Kaliya started taking and consuming that. So when Garuda, he was coming every day and seeing they have agreed to keep this offering, why suddenly they are not keeping? He is finding his offering is missing. Then he started inquiring and he found out that Kaliya is taking away what offering was meant for Garuda. Then Garuda became very angry with him and he attacked Kaliya. Kaliya very proudly he started fighting with Garuda, thinking that I'm more than a match for him. But actually he found that he was himself not a match for Garuda. So then he ran away from Garuda because he knew if he continued fighting, Garuda would finish him. So he started running away. Now where to go? He came to Kaliya Hrada, because there, earlier what had happened, Saubari Muni had been staying there. And Garuda used to come there also for his food, and he would catch a few fish and go. So all the fish went and complained to Saubari Muni, like this Garuda is coming and taking some of us away. So then next time Garuda came, Saubari Muni, he gave a curse to Garuda Dev. I curse you that if you take away fish from here, you will drop down dead. Now the Saubari Rishi's curse cannot touch Garuda, because Garuda is the carrier of Lord Vishnu himself. He is completely transcendental. He is beyond all this. But then Garuda Dev, being a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, he had consideration for the sage. Now sage has said, I don't want to disrespect him. I came here for my food. He had no intention of disturbing Saubari Muni. Now Saubari Muni took it upon himself. So Garuda thought, why I should not disrespect him. He is a great Muni, Rishi. So what he did, he picked up the king of the fishes and he went away. He said, I will not come here anymore, because Saubari Muni has said like this, I will not disturb his, I will not, in any way try to violate that curse of Saubari Muni. So, but Saubari Muni and the fishes started thinking, oh, now because of fear of Saubari Muni's curse, Garuda will not come here. That was not the thing. But Garuda, he is a pure devotee. He doesn't want to insult anyone like that. So he, out of natural respect, he stopped going to that Hrada. So Kaliya also had heard about this and he thought, now if I go there, Garuda will not come because of fear of Saubari Muni's curse. And that is how he took shelter of the Yamuna. So Kaliya's reason for coming to Yamuna was neither to take shelter of her, nor to receive her mercy, nor to become purified. So he had closed the doors and windows of his heart to receive the blessings of Yamuna. But then, in any way you come in touch with a pure devotee, some purification will happen, some benefit has to accrue. Because Kaliya took shelter of Yamuna, and Yamuna, because she is a pure devotee and she is very purifying, it is said that Yamuna is 1,000 times more purifying than Gangaji. So because of that, what happened? Because of the contact with Yamunaji, what happened? Garuda got the opportunity to receive the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna on his head. Kasyanubhavo asya na deva vidmahe. The Nagapatnis, the wives of Kaliya, when Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and they saw that Kaliya was about to die, they came and approached Krishna and prayed to him to release Kaliya, to let him live. So when they were praying to him, because the Nagapatnis were great devotees of Krishna, so they said, Kasyanubhavo asya nadeva vidmahe. Oh my dear Lord Krishna, we don't know what kind of great fortune this husband, the serpent of ours, has got. Why? Because Tavangri Renu Sparsha Adhikara. From where did he get the Sparsha Adhikara? Where did he get the Adhikara? The right to touch the dust of your lotus feet. Why? What is so special about the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna? Because that dust of Krishna is desired to be attained even by Lakshmi Devi. Shrir Lalanacharat Tapo. She desiring, Lakshmi Devi desiring to get the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Although Lakshmi Devi is constantly serving the lotus feet of Narayana. But still, she also desired, no, I want the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. And desiring that, what she did? Shrir Lalanacharat Tapo. She engaged in austerities to please Krishna to receive the dust from his lotus feet. Vihaya Kaman, she gave up all other desires, and with single pointed attention, she executed tapasya to receive the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. And not for a short period of time, Chiram, for a long period of time, she did the austerities. But still, she did not receive the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. So Lakshmi Devi could not get the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. But this evil, wicked serpent Kaliya has received. We don't know, we cannot understand what great fortune has fallen upon this serpent husband of ours. So we can consider that because of the touch of Yamunaji, somehow Kaliya also got the opportunity to get the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. So these are some of the things we have to consider, that when we look at the example of Kaliya. Is that okay? Yes. Anybody else?
One more question.
Yes.
It's an observation. People just tell me it is right or wrong. Like if when Krishna killed any demons in Vrindavan or Mathura, they got immediately liberated.
Yeah.
Outside Vrindavan, only in Kurukshetra, that the soldiers, whoever died in front of Krishna, they got liberation. But other things, other demons and all, they were bereft of this liberation.
Not really. If you look at Shishupala, he was killed in Indraprastha. He also got liberated. Yes or no? Similarly, all demons, whether Shalva, Dantavakra, all of them, whoever were killed by Krishna, they all attained salvation. So that is actually the unique feature of Krishna. Whoever is killed by Krishna immediately gets salvation. It may not happen with Vishnu or Narayana. For example, Ravana was killed by Lord Ramachandra, but Ravana did not attain salvation. Why? Because he thought Rama is some human being, some powerful human king he is. That's all he thought. Therefore, he did not get liberated. The same Ravana, when he took birth, that Ravana and Kumbhakarna was also killed in that battlefield with Ramachandra. But neither Kumbhakarna nor Ravana got liberation. They again had to take birth. They had to take birth as Shishupala and Dantavakra. Before the Ravana and Hiranyakashipu took birth, they had taken birth as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was killed by Varahadev and Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narasimhadev. Both are incarnations of Vishnu, but they did not get liberated. Hiranyakashipu did not get liberated because he was thinking that this is some illusory form, some magical person. He has created some illusory form, magical form of half man, half lion. Something like this had never been seen before. Hiranyaksha, when he was killed by Varahadev, he thought this is some Vanagocharo Mriga. This is some forest animal, jungle beast it is. That is what he was thinking. So he also did not get liberation. So like this, there are so many examples. Kalanemi. Kalanemi was killed by Vishnu himself. But Kalanemi did not get liberated. He took birth as Kamsa. So all those asuras who have been killed by Vishnu or his incarnations, they need not necessarily get liberated. But every asura who was killed by Krishna got liberated. That demonstrates the supremacy of Krishna, that Krishna is the avatari. He is the source of all avataras and he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Pavitram paramam bhavan, Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita about Krishna. Krishna is the supreme pure. You cannot find anything purer than Krishna. Therefore, anybody comes in touch with Krishna, kamat, bhayat, dveshat, snehat. You may come in touch with Krishna because of lust. You can come in touch with Krishna because of dvesha, because of hatred, bhayat because of fear, or sneha because of affection. Any way you come in touch with Krishna, bahavo tadhagam hitva tadgatim gataha. All those people who came in touch with Krishna, they all get liberated. So that is the special, unique feature of Krishna that shows how he has a position beyond even Narayana and Vishnu and any of the avatars. This is one of the indicators. Is that okay? So whether Krishna killed them in Vraja or outside of Vraja doesn't matter. Killed by Krishna means he will attain liberation. Is that okay? Any other question? Online.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So in practicing outside, when we practice devotional service outside, we don't feel motivated. We are not able to follow some rules. And due to this, we regret. So because of this, then we don't feel to chant also. So how to deal with this kind of situations?
Okay. So what we have to understand is, initially, especially when we are beginning our devotional service, we may not be on the stage of being fixed up, being steady in our devotional service. If you look at the stages of devotional service, Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Atho Bhajana Kriya, Tato Anartha Nivrittihi Syat, Tato Nishtha. After the anartha nivritti has happened in the heart, after the anarthas in the heart have been sufficiently cleaned away, then only comes the stage of nishtha, the fixed determination to execute devotional service to Krishna will come about in one's heart. So, initially in our devotional service, we may have shraddha, we may have faith, we may even want to follow the regulative principles and other instructions given by Prabhupada. But then, when we are trying to follow, sometimes our determination wavers and we may fall down. Fall down meaning we are already fallen, nothing more to fall down. Just that our determination falters and we end up violating some principle or the other. So, what we have to understand is, this is our condition right now is just like a small child learning how to walk. When a child learns how to walk, initially the child will take a few steps, then fall down, then again take a few steps, fall down, and like this. And the gait also will not be proper. the child will suddenly run forward and then lose balance and fall down. All this will happen. But gradually, as the child goes on practicing, the child will pick up how to walk, and the child will start walking soon on its own without the need for the support from the father or the mother. You may all have had that experience. I remember when my niece, when she was a small kid, I used to hold her hand and make her walk, and I would tell my auntie that look, she is walking. And then I leave her hand, she'll take 2 steps, dhadam, she'll fall down. And then she'll start crying, then we have to pacify her and all that. So you would all have experienced this. Similarly, another example is how we all learn how to cycle. This is another vivid example in my memory. In my childhood, I was standing with some friends on the next to the compound wall of the house, and we were just like that gossiping. You know, children, they keep talking so many things. And on the road, there was one small boy who had brought one big cycle, his father's cycle, and another little elder boy to him who was teaching him how to cycle. So, you know, many of you who would have learned to cycle would have that experience how somebody holds the cycle from behind, holds the carrier and runs along with the cycle. And that's how we learn, you know, balancing. Otherwise, we'll all fall down. So like that, this bigger boy was holding the carrier of the cycle, and this small boy was pedaling, and he was, he was going back and forth. He was running along with him, and this smaller child was practicing. So practicing, after some time, this guy who was holding the carrier, he got tired. So what he did, he came to one point and he said, cycle, and he said, and he left the carrier. And what happened? This poor boy is the first day he is driving. Will he be able to pick up the balance? He went and straight landed in that, on the roadside there is the gutter for rainwater. He went and fell fully into that. And this small boy started crying like anything. So we were all standing and seeing how poor guy, he has fallen down. He is crying. Maybe he is hurt or something. And we are expecting that the bigger boy will go and pick him up. Now this bigger boy went next to him. He stood next to him. He did not even give his hand. He was panting and tired, running with the cycle so much, this one. So he put his hands on his hips and he said that, Arey, why are you crying? You should fall. Only if you fall, you will learn how to cycle. He was telling in Kannada, Bidbekano, bidrane kaltkolodo, illandre kaliyakaga. So, when we are a small child, when we have to learn walking, first few weeks or months or whatever time it takes to learn, we will fall many times. But then we pick up ourselves and then continue trying, then we will be able to start running one day. Who knows? You may one day you may break Usain Bolt's record. Who knows? But if the child takes the first step, falls down and thinks, oh, what is the use? I cannot walk. And he keeps sitting whole life, then he will not even be able to walk, forget about run. Same thing about learning how to cycle. If you fall down once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, you will have to fall down. And every time if you fall down, if you think, oh, what is this? Every time I'm falling down, I cannot learn. Leave it. Then you will never learn. So, falling down and picking oneself up and continuing with determination, you have to have the resilience. As long as you have that resilience, one day you will become expert and you will be able to walk or cycle without falling down. Similarly, in devotional life also, we have never exercised ourselves spiritually. So, therefore, when we start following the spiritual practices, what will happen is, there will be times when we will fail to follow the regulations. So, whenever we fail, what we have to do? We have to pick ourselves up, pray to Prabhupada and Krishna and Mahaprabhu, seek their forgiveness and pray for their mercy to get the strength to not fall down again, and keep continuing. As we go on chanting Hare Krishna, as we go on reading Srila Prabhupada's books, as we go on attending the programs in the temple, our strength will become more and more. We will become stronger and stronger, and one day we will be so fixed up that we will not, even in the presence of agitation, we will not get agitated. That day will come. We have to have the confidence and we have to have the determination to pick ourselves up and continue. So the only way to come to the stage of not falling down is to continue chanting and following whatever instructions we are able to follow determinedly. That will attract the mercy, the compassion of Krishna and Prabhupada, and they will give us the strength to follow all the principles. This is the principle we have to follow. So, we have to demonstrate our seriousness and our dedication, our sincerity to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. How will they know we are sincere or not? Whenever we fall down, we again pick up ourselves, again we continue praying to Krishna and Prabhupada for forgiveness and for additional strength. So when they see this attitude in us, then Krishna and Prabhupada will immediately reciprocate with us. If we throw up our hands and say, oh, not possible, let me leave it, then what will happen? Then Krishna and Prabhupada also will say, I cannot help him. He himself is not ready to take my help. What can I do? So they will also keep quiet. They will wait. Okay, let him get the determination and come back. Then we will help him. So our process is twofold. We are in a condition like we have fallen down into a deep, dark well. It's a deep, dark well into which we are fallen. Now, if we have to get out of the deep, dark well, how do we get out? We cannot climb out on our own. So we are not Batman, Superman, Spider-Man that will, climb out and get out of this one by our own strength. Not possible. Those are all in comics and all, comics, movies and all, you can see that. Real life, it doesn't happen. Once you are fallen into a well, you cannot get out. The only way you can get out is somebody has to drop a rope for you from outside. So, Guru is the person who will drop the rope of his instructions to us who have fallen to the deep, dark well of material nescience. Now, if I have fallen into the deep, dark well and somebody throws me a rope, and if I say, rope has come, now I am, saved. Will you get saved? You will remain there only. You have to hold on to the rope. If you hold on to the rope, then the person who is above can pull you out. If you refuse to hold the rope, what can the person do? So, the rope is the instructions of the Guru, instructions of Srila Prabhupada. And by following those instructions, we are holding on to the rope. So when we hold on to the rope, what will happen? Prabhupada will pull us out. So while Prabhupada is pulling out, sometimes our hand may slip, we may fall back into the well. No problem. Guru will again give the rope. Again you have to hold on. Now if once you have fallen into the well, you think, oh no, what is there? My hand is slipping, I am not able to hold. So let me not catch the rope at all. I'll stop chanting, I'll stop reading. Then what Guru can do? Guru will take out the rope and go to next well. There are so many wells, so many living entities are there. That opportunity will go to someone else. So before the Guru decides to leave you and go somewhere else, better is to catch hold of the rope again and again try. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, some time or the other, we will get pulled out. So that's how we have to consider. Okay? Yes.
In Srila Prabhupada's books, Life Comes from Life, he counters evolution as, if we are from apes, then why are there apes around? So his Nishant is saying, I looked into this, but then I learned that the apes which we see today are not the supposed ancestors, but the apes around and human have a common ancestor in the past. Kindly explain how should this supposed evolutionary data must be viewed? And also, can the Shastras be considered as a source of scientific data, even if we get some contradicting observations, which are confirmed by independent sources, that is evidence or experiments?
Actually, the fact is that this Darwin's theory is a big hoax. 40% of America does not believe in the Darwin's theory. Many universities don't teach Darwin's theory. In India, we have this system of indoctrination. Everything, into the schools, it is put into the syllabus and drilled into the child's head. This is the reality, this is the reality, this is the reality. We all grow up reading all this and think, no, Darwin's theory is Veda Vakya. We think like that. But if you analyze Darwin's theory a little closely, we can find many, many discrepancies. First of all, like Prabhupada talks about how if we have come from apes, why are monkeys even there today? We'll come to that. I will explain that point that this person has raised, this devotee has raised, that those apes from which we have evolved are not the present monkeys which we see today. Monkeys have also evolved from the same ape. We'll come to that point a little later. But I will, show how Darwin's theory actually has is not really, a truth like that. So first of all, what happens is, in the Darwin's theory, to fit is Darwin's theory. Darwin, you see, okay, let me start at the beginning. You see, in science, how do we come to a fact, ascertaining a fact or a truth? We observe certain phenomena in nature, then we make some calculations, and we derive a formula. Based on the formula, we do some experiments, and then when the experiments fit into the formula that we have derived from the observed phenomena, we understand that yes, this whatever formula we have derived is this theorem that we have derived is true. This is the standard process, isn't it? Everything comes like this. Now, in the case of Darwin's theory, is very interesting. There was no observed phenomenon. Nobody has seen one living entity evolving into another living entity, right? That phenomenon itself is not there to observe. Number one. So nobody observed the phenomenon. Then how did Darwin's theory come about? Darwin, one fine day, sitting in his boat or ship or something, he was smoking away or doing whatever, I don't know what he was smoking, weed or ganja or whatever. So suddenly one idea came to him and he wrote down, according to me, evolution must have happened like this. And he put it out into the world. According to me, it must have happened like this. Then everybody, all the scientific community got together. Oh, very nice, this one. Just like somebody wrote a Batman novel. Then everybody read it. Oh, so very nice. So now Batman's novel we have written. Let us find out where is Batman. And everybody goes searching with torchlight and then DNA tests and all figuring out who is Batman. Will you ever be able to get him? Why? Because somebody just dreamed up a nice story and he wrote a story. Like that, Darwin dreamed up a story and wrote his storybook, which became Darwin's theory. And now people, the whole scientific community got together, they got very enamored by this Darwin's novel. Beautiful novel. So let us find evidences to fit it into this novel. The whole scientific process is reversed. There is no observed phenomenon based on which you did some formula calculations and then you did an experiment to fit in. Nothing is done. There is no observed phenomena. And they are still trying to find evidence to fit into it. And whatever that theory is there, they cannot prove it also by doing experiments. Now, what kind of theory is this here? You cannot validate it by doing an experiment and showing this is how it works. Can you do it? You cannot do it. Okay, at least can you observe this phenomenon happening? You cannot observe it also. Nobody has seen this. Thousands of years, nobody has seen. At least in the known history of mankind, nobody has seen. This is the reality. But still, the whole scientific community is very enamored. Why? Because if it is true, then God goes out of the picture. If, it is a very big if. They are thinking not if, when. They are thinking when we will prove this, God is out of the picture. Actually, it is if. If we will prove, then God is out of the picture. That if can never come true. But they are thinking, no, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. So they are going out doing some archaeological excavations and trying to find evidence to fit into Darwin's theory. Like this only, one evidence they found. of an ape who was almost like a man, something like that. And it was displayed in some museum, and it was a very big discovery. For some 10, 15, 20 years, it was touted as one of the main main proofs of the Darwin's theory of the evolution from one living entity to another living entity. After some 10, 20 years, they found out it was a hoax. Some guy just cooked it up to get all fame. He found one bone in one place. 40 feet away, he found another bone. He said both of them must be of the same person. And he said, see, this is that in-between person whom we are all searching for. So that was debunked after something. They removed it from the museum. All this happened. So now currently what is the status? Now according to Darwin's theory, the evolution happens phase by phase. So they are saying, okay, we have found some bones of some apes. We have modern day human being. There are these two things. Now we have to find the bones in between. So what they are saying, in between we are trying to find, there are some missing links in the Darwin's theory. What is this missing link? Missing link means there are the apes here, there are the human beings here. In between, they have found some one or two, but there are no links between them. Meaning, proof is not there yet. So instead of saying we don't have proof yet, if they say we don't have proof yet, then what will happen is everybody will say, forget it, yeah. So many hundreds of years you are talking about it, still you have not got proof. Who is going to believe you? So they say, no, it's all proved. Darwin's theory is reality. There are some missing links, that's all. Missing link means what? There is no proof for that theory. So this is how people are taken for a ride. So like this, you can find so many flaws in Darwin's theory. And one, coming back to the point about how Prabhupada says we have not come from apes. Now, the whole Darwin's theory is what? Evolution happens by the selection of the fittest, isn't it? So one animal, if it has to evolve into another, there has to be some condition where the animal has to adapt itself, otherwise it will not survive. That is what forces evolution to happen. Otherwise evolution simply will not happen, no. That is why currently we are not seeing any evolution happening. Otherwise every year and there, suddenly one man will give birth to one giraffe will give birth to one lion. All those things should be happening, but nothing like that happens. Giraffe always gives rise to giraffe. A horse gives birth to horse. Donkey will give birth to donkey. Monkey will give birth to monkey only. Have you seen any monkey giving birth to a human being? Anybody has seen? Or human being giving birth to monkey? That also is not there. Neither reverse is happening nor forward is happening. Everybody is going in their lines only. Right? So, if there is a condition in the world where, suppose there is a very great challenge for the human race to survive, the environmental conditions are such, then what will happen is the human being will adapt himself and he will grow two horns to be able to survive. That is called survival of the fittest. If he doesn't grow the two horns, the human species will become extinct. Right? This is fundamentally what the survival of the fittest theory says. So that means when the apes were threatened with extinction, they evolved into higher beings which were able to overcome that threat. That is how human beings have come about. Okay? So now, to overcome a threat, if an ape had to evolve into a human being, and that is how it has to survive, then why did it evolve into a monkey? You understand? See, to survive a threat, you have to go in one direction, no? You cannot suddenly go in two directions. So, ape giving rise to two people, what is the meaning of that? That means there was some condition which humans could not survive, therefore the apes had to evolve into monkeys. Then why are human beings existing today? Or apes evolved into human beings because if they evolved into monkeys, they would not survive. That's called survival of the fittest. Then why are monkeys existing today? So if you look at it that way, it cannot answer. And if those monkeys have evolved from the apes and human beings have also evolved from the apes, then why are the monkeys not further evolving into human beings? After all, the ancestor is the same. So all these questions, where are the answers? First of all, the Darwin's theory is a novel which does not have any proof. The scientists are still trying to fit together whatever they are archaeological things they are getting to fit into the novel and prove that the novel is actually not a novel, it is a reality. Batman is not just a comic, this one. He is a real person. And Gotham City is actually existing. We have found it out. Deep in the Amazon jungle it is there. Can you say? You will never find it. Similarly, this Darwin's theory, what happens is, in the scientific community, they come across so many evidences which go completely against the Darwin's theory. Now, we spoke about the missing link. Missing link means there is no proof, which they call the proof. The proof that they are searching for doesn't exist. So, they call it missing link. Very convenient. This is another terminology they use. Another convenient terminology they have generated is anomalous, evidences. What is anomalous evidence? Evidence which is contradicting Darwin's theory. According to Darwin's theory, human being evolved some 40,000 years ago, something like that, right? And that is when all the implements they started making, like knives and pots and all that. Suddenly, somewhere they do some archaeology, they find some knives and pots which are 3 lakh years old. What will they do? Now that is contradicting Darwin's theory. So they will say, this is anomalous evidence, keep it aside. So it is total, it is, what can you tell about this? They are actually, the scientific community is taking the people for a big ride. And those who are not intelligent enough, they will all fall for this wonderful explanation given by the scientists. This whole beautiful story that they've created. Just like children, they will believe, oh, Spider-Man actually exists. And every time they go to sleep, they'll be thinking, tomorrow when I get up, I'll go here, maybe I'll see Spider-Man there, I'll see Spider-Man here. Some child will even think, maybe there is a spider on the wall, maybe if that spider bites me, I'll become Spider-Man. What will happen if a spider bites you? Everybody knows. So, such stories, what is the point in believing them? So, similarly, if somebody believes in Darwin's theory, you have to pity that person. That's all. You have to use your intelligence and think, no. You look at the internet, there is an abundance of evidences which totally contradict the Darwin's theory. That is why at least some universities, they got some brains, they don't teach Darwin's theory at all. But still there are some people, there is a bed chal, they say in Hindi. You know what's bed chal? Bed chal means, suppose there is one sheep which is going in one direction. Now what happens is, another 4 or 5 sheep come and join it. Seeing the crowd of sheep, some other sheep going somewhere, they will also come and join. Nobody knows where it is going. Group is going, I will also go. Like that, scientists, the group is going in one direction, so I will also join them and go. No thinking, you don't use your brains to understand where are they going in the right direction. No thinking like that. Eventually, they will all go and land up in some ditch. So we should not be in that sheep mentality. We should use our intelligence and assess for ourselves what is the truth. This is the reality. And as far as the Vedas are concerned, the Vedic knowledge we have to understand is called Apaurusheya. It is said in the Shastras, Etan Mahataha, what is that? Mahataha Nishvasito. So the exhalation of Mahavishnu is the Vedas. So the Vedas are not the creation of some ordinary person of this material world. That is how the Britishers and others want us to believe. They say somebody sat and wrote it. In fact, they say not even one person. At least we say Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedas. The Britishers and their followers, what they tell, they say the Vedas were not written at one point of time, they were written at different points of time by different people. Although all of them are attributed to Vyasadeva. What is the reason? They say different passages in the Vedas, if you see, the grammar, the words used, the vocabulary is all different. The style of writing is different. From this we can guess that it is somebody else. But actually what is reality? Reality is Veda Vyasa compiled the Vedas which were already existing. And the Vedas consist of various conversations between different individuals. At some places there is some king, like for example let us say King, what is his name? Jadabharata and Rahugana. King Rahugana was talking to Jadabharata. If you just take one Srimad Bhagavatam only. Now Rahugana is a king. So his vocabulary is simple. You will be able to understand easily. Now there are other passages in the Bhagavatam where the Kumaras are speaking, the sons of Brahmaji. Now when they are speaking, you see the vocabulary and the language and the grammar difficult, tough. And there are some passages where Lord Brahma offers prayers to Krishna, really tough. The Sanskrit, the grammar, the vocabulary, I mean those words you would have never heard. Somewhere the cowherds are talking, Nanda Maharaj is talking, very simple, easy to understand Sanskrit. So you have to understand Nanda Maharaj is a simple cowherd person. So he will talk in normal, simple Sanskrit. And when you take somebody like Brahmaji, who is the creator of the universe, the Adi Kavi, he is the first learned person in this universe. His vocabulary, his thinking and the way he will construct his sentence will be totally different. It will be of a completely different intellectual caliber. How can you expect all of them should be of the same caliber? You cannot expect. So naturally, the Vedas, because mostly they are conversations between different people, the conversations are represented as it is. So naturally, they have their styles, they have their vocabulary, they have their grammar, the way they use, it will all be different. But these people, they don't look at that. They think, no, this is all simply somebody has written. They're all not really somebody has spoken. No, there is nobody called Brahma. So what is the point in saying that Brahma spoke this? It's all simply some story. So when you look at it like that, you will get confused. So fact is, the Vedas are apaurusheya. They are not written by some individual, human being, nor are they the creation of the fertile brain, like Prabhupada says, of some speculator. No. What need was there for Veda Vyasa to write and sit and write novels? Was he interested in publishing them and becoming a bestseller like J.K. Rowling? Or was he interested in entertaining people with nice novels, stories? He was a rishi, he was a renounced person, he was living in Badrikashrama in the Himalayas, in the forest, given up all material, this one. What he has to sit and write about some kings and fighting and all that, as if he has got no other better work, is it? He is immersed in the topmost supreme absolute truth. So, such people, personalities such as Veda Vyasa, Valmiki Rishi, then Valmiki Rishi, of course, is an even better example. Valmiki Rishi was initially, he was a dacoit. Later, he became a rishi. He gave up his family, everything. He renounced everything. To want to do, sit and write a novel? It doesn't make sense. After, if as a dacoit, he reformed himself and then sitting in the society, enjoying in the midst of his family members, he wrote one novel so that he can sell many copies of it and make some living for himself. Okay, still you can believe that. But what did Valmiki Muni do? He gave up everything and became a rishi and went to the forest. And he's sitting there and writing Ramayana. Why should he write it unless it is reality, unless it is fact? So, the rishis, the sages, Valmiki Rishi, Veda Vyasa, whatever they have written, is not their own creation. They are recording of actual facts, whatever have happened, and they are instructions given by the Supreme Lord Himself. So therefore, they are apaurusheya. And they are mahataha nishvasitam. Etad mahataha nishvasitam etad. The Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. So all the Vedas are are actually given by the Supreme Lord Himself. And so therefore they are free from all flaws and defects. But then when we look at it from the modern scientific perspective, some of them may appear contradictory. Some of them may appear to be incorrect. When the Britishers were ruling India, the Indians in the villages, they would smear cow dung on all the floors and the walls of their houses. Why? Because the Vedas state that cow dung is always pure. And the Britishers looked at it and said, what is aborigines, primitive people? What is this most unhygienic practice? Today, science has discovered cow dung is an antiseptic object. You apply cow dung, it is very healthy. And not only that, civil engineering has discovered that cow dung has a unique property. If you smear it on the walls of your house, it will keep your house cool during summers and it will keep your house warm during winters. Now look at that. The Britishers never knew this, but our Shastras, by simply telling cow dung is pure, you can use it on your house, on your floor and walls. You simply follow that. Is there any discrepancy? So at that point of time, when the Britishers were looking at this contemptuously, at this practice of spreading cow dung everywhere, they did not know this. Science was unaware of this. Today science has become aware. They are saying, no. That time what we said was wrong. You are right. So similarly, there may be several passages, several instructions given in the Vedas which may appear according to today's scientific understanding to be wrong. But science also has not been steady in its sharing of its knowledge, right? Every now and then science keeps changing its stance. We all have learnt about Dalton's theory. What is Dalton's atomic theory? The atom is the indivisible elementary particle of matter, isn't it? But then today, is it a reality? We have found no, atom can be further divided into protons, neutrons, electrons and a nucleus. And now we have gone beyond that also. That even the nucleus can be broken down and there are some mesotrons and I don't know what all trons are there. So, you see how science also is going on changing its own knowledge, because science is still under the process of discovery. But the fact is, material nature is so complicated, the scientists will go on discovering newer and newer things and they'll keep discarding the older ones. And they'll say, we are advancing. This will never end. This will never end. So, today, what science knows, 10 years later, 50 years later, science itself will say it is wrong. So on what basis are we believing that whatever science is saying is right, Vedas are wrong? Because the Vedas have never changed. Whatever they said at the beginning of the creation billions of years ago, even today the Vedas are saying the same thing. Whereas science keeps on changing every 50 years. So whom do you want to believe? So in today's current understanding of science, which is not perfect, which no scientist worth his salt can claim that this is it, this can never change. No scientist can say that. He can only say in today's whatever status of science is in, whatever knowledge we have, with that, this is the conclusion we have. There is no guarantee tomorrow it will not change. So how are you saying that this is contradicting the Vedas, therefore science what is saying is right and Vedas are wrong? How can you say? You cannot say. So therefore, we retain our faith in the Vedas and we go by it. If there are some things which are contradictory, we have to simply accept that today science is not able to explain. Sometime in the future, science will explain. That's all. Okay, we'll stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.